Hello there, and welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Amy. I realized that last videos I did not introduce myself. I'm very sorry, but my name is Amy. I'm 31 years old. I'm a Dutch person, and I love to knit and crochet, mostly only in summer, and soon to be sewing as well, because actually this Friday my mom is going to give me my very first sewing lesson. She is very experienced. She's worked in fashion industry for like 30 plus years, so hopefully in the future I'm going to do those videos as well. But for today, I'm having a little bit of a travel vlog yarn shop video for you. So it's June now. I'm very late with filming this introduction and sort of yapping bits and pieces together. But last month, so in mid-May, I went to Portugal for 10 days, specifically Porto and Lisbon, and I was able to film quite a lot of bits and pieces there of what I did. Some knitting and yarn shops that I went to. And yeah, I want to just take you guys along and show you what I did and what I bought. I will show that later as well. So my trip started off in Porto. We stayed there for 3 days, then went to Lisbon for 5, and then back to Porto for 2. And my overall experience was great, although I must say that this was my 3rd time in Lisbon, and the first time was about 20 years ago, I think about 20 years ago, and it was amazing. It was so lovely. Yes, it's a capital city, but at that time it was, you know, just very chill vibe. And then I went about 7 years ago as well, which, you know, at that point it was already a little bit more touristy, but still very lovable, very enjoying myself a lot. And it was, still felt like true Portuguese culture was visible to some extent. This time around though, especially in the city center, tourism has taken over, and you can really see that in just everything. You know, it was not only way too busy, but also it really affected the vibe and I would say culture as it is. So I read that a lot of Portuguese residents, a lot of residents in Lisbon have been, you know, complaining the over tourism, kind of similar as a lot of capital cities. It's the same in Amsterdam as well. But for me, as a visitor, I was kind of a little bit sad about how I could see, you know, the slow changes in the city center compared to like 20 years ago. I want to say 7, 8 years ago, and then now. Nonetheless, it's still a beautiful city. We spent a little bit more time not in the city center, but in neighborhoods a little bit more outward, which was still very nice and relaxing and felt a little bit more like the true city, if that makes sense. So I just wanted to put a little note for my experience there. This was my first time in Porto, and I really truly love that city. It's very walkable, even though people say it's very hilly. Yes, it is, but to me, Lisbon is a lot more ups and down hills than Porto was, but maybe that's just my experience. But I really love that city, and I would highly recommend visiting. Of course, I popped by some yarn shops and bought things, even though I was not supposed to, and I only had carry-on luggage and it barely fit. of course I had to buy some things. So I'm gonna take you guys along, and I hope you enjoy this video. So the first stop that I visited was a very teeny tiny yarn shop, which is called, I'm gonna butcher this name, it's called Fio da Meada. It's a really small, cute little yarn shop that just happened to be around the corner of our Airbnb. And the owner, it was owned by a couple, an older couple, and the woman, she was like the experienced crafter, knitter, and it was kind of her passion project. They told us that they have the store downstairs, and the floor above, they have an Airbnb that they rent out for, I think, up to 6 people. And then above the floor above that one, that's where they live. And they had some Rosaria floor yarns that I actually don't remember ever seeing in a store here. It was really lovely. They also have some other Portuguese yarn brands that I forgot right now, but I'm going to try to look them up and put them in the description below. And they had a lot of katja yarns, and I did kind of give myself a pass when it comes to buying some Portuguese yarn. This was like the second day though, so I was like, I'm not gonna buy something now because I still needed like over a week to go. But I would definitely recommend going by this little cute little yarn store and, you know, at least support the owners. They're really friendly. One thing that I really wanted to do was go to the Retrosaria Rosa Pomar, which I think we did on Saturday, which was crazy rainy. It was like a lot of rain that day, so it was a good day to visit a yarn store and just kind of cozy up. And I spent around, I would say, half an hour there. To me, this was like, you know, Charlie in a chocolate factory, but then Amy at a beautiful yarn store. It was a most, you know, beautiful store itself. I really liked just the general vibe of it and how they set it up. One of the things that caught my eye really quickly was the sheep sweater from Rosa Pomar. I love how it looks so much, and I think it's so cute. And so I saw they had a few samples there. One was in like a lighter green with a real like white cream contrast, or like the sheep. And they had one which was in a little bit more red Bordeaux with the white cream sheep. And I told myself I was allowed to buy one project worth of yarn. So I was thinking, okay, you know what, maybe I'll go for a vest, and then I have a few options. And I was looking at the yarn, I was thinking a lot, and I just kept getting back to this sheep sweater. So in the end, I did pick up yarn for the sheep sweater. I bought the pattern as well. So I'm gonna show you what I got.
What did you do? What is this?
Yarn. I bought yarn. And I bought a sweater quantity of yarn. I know it's not supposed to, but I did it anyway.
Now you're gonna have a nice sweater. A sheep sweater.
The people were so lovely. They really helped me. It was really nice. Let me show them. Sheep sweater. And look, it has sheep. But no blood. So first I really want to show you what bag I got this. So I got this bag, tote bag, in Lisbon. So I think this is a really famous bookstore. It's like the oldest working bookstore in the world. So I was able to get a book there, and I got this little bag. But now it's holding my yarn that I bought at Rosa Pomar. So the pattern suggests, and also it's made in the peculal yarn. And the sample that I saw that I fell in love with was also in this colorway. So I would say the light is not perfect right now, but I hope you can see. Like this yarn, I'll maybe put on some clips when you can see it better, has like, yes, it's a reddish undertone, but there's greens and purples and some blues and yellows. It's the most magical yarn, I would say. This is 100% wool. It is 220 meters for 50 grams, and it's a 3 to 4 millimeter needle recommendation. So unfortunately though, the color that they used for the sheep, so like the white cream color, was almost out of stock. They only had one ball left at that point, unfortunately. So I had to get a different one. The Jamieson and Smith. Sorry, I forgot to name what this colorway is. It's a color 4. And I got the Jamieson and Smith, which is the Supreme Jumper Weight. This is 100% undyed real Shetland wool. 50 grams is 182 meters. It is a 4-ply, and it's in a color 2001. I don't mind that it's a different one. However, when I came back from the store and got back to the Airbnb, I looked at the receipt that I got, and this yarn is about 3 times the price of this one. Which, you know, it's fine, because I'm gonna love this sweater, but I did kind of feel bummed at that point because, you know, it is for an accent color, and, you know, I only needed like 4 skeins when it was this brand, but I had to get 5 of this, and it's just a lot more expensive. So I paid like twice of what the original price would be. But you know what? In the end, it is a lovely yarn. I've never worked with this brand as well, so we'll see how it will knit up. It will be, if you've never smelled this yarn before, you can smell rustic and sheep, but it's not like gross, it's just, you know, it's a rustic smell. I don't mind it at all. I kind of like it. It kind of gives me the vibe of, you know, knitting in front of like, you know, somewhere in the woods with like a fire in front of you and, you know, roasting marshmallows. I don't know. That's what it smells like to me. So that is almost all the yarn that I got in Portugal. But first, before I'm going to tell you about the other things, I'm going to take off this sweater because it's so warm. That's a lot better. So the days after in Lisbon, we went to some like bakeries and did a lot of walking around. It was just very, very chill and lovely and nice. And then at one point it was time to get back to Porto. Store is called Portugese Yarn. This was kind of a store which was, to me, a little bit more like an original Retrosaria, where you don't really go through the yarn yourself, but they have like registries down the sides and the front, and then behind that they have like big closets of where the yarns are and where everything is. And you really have just skilled people that help you get the yarn that you need or any other material that you require. So this was definitely a little bit more of a service-focused way of purchasing that I think is beautiful, and is also how it used to be done. When it comes to yarn shopping though, I do find that I enjoy browsing myself a little bit more, because I really need to process things when I go through it, and often I don't really know if I want to buy something, it's just for inspiration's sake. Then these kind of stores might not be the best for me at that point. But if you are requiring something specific, or you need help or assistance or whatever, perfect. Like, people are so nice and helpful, and yeah, they really want to share their knowledge, and I could really appreciate that as well. Then I went to the last yarn store of the trip, which is called Ovelha Negra. So I did purchase a few things there. This was such a lovely shop. I think I went in there for 3 or 4 times, and the owner was so nice. They have a really lovely variation of, they had some knitting for olive and some other bigger yarns, and they had some Rosaria 4 and other Portuguese yarn brands. And the first thing I picked up there was this cute little knitting bag. So they had this color knitting bag with different strap colors. So my boyfriend got one in orange, which is cute. And yeah, it was just a cute little bag to pick up. But I felt like that was not everything that I wanted. So when I went to pay for this bag, I saw on one wall that they had some yarns of their own, so from the store. And that was, for me, enough reason to properly look through it and pick up a yarn. I picked up this Ovelha yarn. So yeah, as you can see here, it's from, if you can see, it's from Ovelha Negra. It's the Ovelha yarn, and it's 55% merino and 45, I think this is cotton. It is a 50 grams skein, is 350 millimeters. So I think this is like a, is it a lace weight? Probably. And they had this knitted up in sort of a beautiful like shawl hoodie combination thing. And it was like all over lace, and it was very lightweight and just beautiful. I actually created a scarf a year and a half ago that I lost, and I wanted to replace it. But because it has so much meterage on it, I was like, I kind of also need to do something else. So the last few weeks I've been looking at a lot of videos from Sunshine Stitching Studio, and she created, I think even two, wait, my camera's a little bit off, two of the holly bandanas by Paula Strict, and I really loved how that looked on her hair. Because I got that heat stroke in Porto, I was like, I might need something that I could cover up my head with whenever I'm in the sun for a little bit longer, also to protect my scalp. It's not that it burns quickly, but just, you know, get something over my head. So I cast on the holly bandana, and I actually am already done with the lace patterns. So now the only thing I need to do is make the border sort of. Yeah, so this is her. It does look a little bit more red, like popping red in the camera, I would say, than it is in real life. To me, it's a little bit more muted and has like a purplish undertone rather than just a popping red color. But I've already almost finished this, and it feels like barely anything came out of this skein. So I can probably make like 1 or 2 more scarves at least with this, which I'm already excited about. So that is what I got in Portugal and what I'm working on at this moment. And I'm thinking about making a new knitting podcast soon, because I actually created a lot of other projects in the meantime, some smaller things that I would love to share. A lot of knitting got done lately, so I'm excited. And as I said, on Friday, I'm gonna get my first sewing lesson from my mom, so I hope to show some things from that as well. Finally, I think it would be nice to show you how far I came along with my shirt that I've been working on during my trip. So when I got in the plane, I cast on, I was working on the first shoulder patch, saddle shoulder, and now I'm working on the round. So definitely got some stuff done during my trip. And wait, I think this is the back. Yeah, so there you go. So I think this will be a very fun t-shirt when it's done. But I will go into detail about that a little bit more in a new knitting podcast. So that is it for today. So that is it. I hope you enjoyed coming along to Portugal with me. And if you have any questions about the trip or yarn stores that I visited, please ask them down below. I'm really curious to also hear what you think about the video. Lately I've been, I wouldn't say struggling, but definitely thinking about whether or not what I'm sharing is a nice thing to see and hear and look at. So I would love to hear your feedback about it. Also, I'm really curious to hear what you guys are working on because of knitting inspiration in summer. I find I have a lot of issues with finding some nice summer projects to work on, and the yarns as well. So please let me know what you're working on and what your plans are for the upcoming time. Are you already thinking about what to knit for autumn and fall, or are you still very much into the summer knitting? So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoy, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.
You can't have everything.
That's me.
It's not you. Oh, that is you. Oh, that is you.